Hey guys, Kyle Morris here, coming from the Golf Room in Dublin, Ohio, and what I want to do today is talk to you guys a little bit about why you may not be as consistent as you want to be. Now, with my findings with teaching, one of the main reasons why I've found that the player is not as consistent as they want to be is due to their swing plane being very high. Now, TrackMan tracks 28 data parameters in our golf swing, and one of the parameters that it tracks is what they term swing plane. Now, swing plane is the height of the handle at the moment of impact. So this would be like 10 degrees, this would be 90 degrees. And to give us a ballpark, the tour average for a 6-iron on tour, on the PGA Tour, is 60 degrees. And what I have found is that the higher handicap player, their swing plane is much, much higher. It's like 65, 67, even in the upper 60s. And they also have a loss of posture, which is basically what creates that high swing plane. And now, what's that really all mean, and why is that important? So, with the amateur golfer, the higher handicap golfer, what I have found is that the player will set up in their posture, and when they take the club back and they come down to transition, they will transition with the club first getting too steep. Now, when I say the word too steep, what I mean is the shaft is looking, if you had a laser at the butt end of the club, the laser is looking between your feet and the ball. And then as they get too steep in their transition, they will thrust their hips forward, creating a loss of posture, and also stand the head up. And from this spot, it's really, really hard to square the face. I mean, the only way to square the face is if I really flip at it with my hands, creating a shot that can go way right or, a snap hook left. And that swing plane, that swing plane at impact, they would see their butt pinch in, they're probably up on their toes, and the handle is really, really high. Okay? So what we need to do is to give you a feedback drill as to how to actually go about changing that. So one of the drills that I've had a lot of success with is when we take a noodle, we double up 2 shafts, and we stick it in the ground, and then we're going to put that noodle right about like if we stick our arm out, we're going to put that right about where my hand goes out, okay? And then I'm going to put this chair right against my tush. So as I take the club back, okay, I'm hitting this on the backswing would be okay, like if you kind of graze it. Now you don't want to like bulldoze it over, but if you want to take it back and you kind of clip it like this, but when I transition, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get this club head, if you can imagine the plane all the way up here. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get this club head to lay on the plane as fast as I can, or laying the club shaft down, but at the same time maintaining the depth of my hips. This is the depth of my hips. So I need to lay the club down by feeling maybe like my right elbow is driving towards the golf ball and getting out in front of me rather than getting trapped behind me like this. Okay? So I'm laying the club down, but then I have to turn and maintain my posture with my tush against this chair. Okay? And what that's going to do, it's also going to allow the player to kind of create speed through their heels rather than their toes. And what we found is that with the use of body track, that a very consistent ball striker, their center of pressure, the way the line will look, which I'll show you here in a little bit, is very linear. So it kind of goes back, loads into the heel, and then it shoots straight. The player that gets too tugged down like this, like they're ringing a bell, and then thrust their hip forward, their center of pressure curve kind of goes like this and makes that handle stand up. So this is kind of a feedback drill of how you can work on that, and then at the same time, if you're seeing your numbers on TrackMan and you're seeing that swing plane is a little bit too high and feeling like you're having to really rotate the face and time the face, then this would be a good drill, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to create a swing that has the maximum amount of time for the minimum amount of compensation. Going like this and tugging down and thrusting your hips forward is the maximum amount of compensation in the minimum amount of time. Whereas if we can lay the club down and kind of pivot, now we can manage the face through the pivot of our swing and our body rather than through our hands, which under pressure will really work a lot better. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me at kmorris@thegolfroom.com. Hopefully this helps, and there'll be a video kind of coming in after this, kind of displaying this motion during a lesson and kind of the differences that you can see. So hopefully this helps, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much. So here's a video of what I was talking about. You can see I've set this noodle up right about my right shoulder, and I've got this chair against my tush. So I'm going to take the club back. It's going to go back on plane, and then my right arm will fold, which will raise my hands a little bit. But what we were talking about is here at the top, we're trying to get this club head to hit this plane line as fast as we can, as well as maintain the depth of our hips. So now I've got these feedback drills set up to kind of give me feedback, because if I was tugging down there, this shaft would hit this noodle. So now I've got to come under this green noodle. You can see the club is now on the plane. My hips are deep and still against the chair, and now I'm just kind of riding the plane around, and I can square the face through the pivot of my body. And you can see I'm kind of moving the chair, which is giving us feedback to say I'm keeping my hips deep. And on body track, what that looks like is, if you can kind of see the camera up here on the top left, as you can see, I've got 52% on my front foot, 48 on my back, which is good. Now I'm going to take it up to the top. I've kind of loaded in 80% or so into my right foot. And now you can see my center of pressure is transferring linearly. It's on the bad shots, the guys who get out on their toes and their swing planes get too high, this plane goes like that. It kind of fish hooks up here, which makes them stand the handle up. And now at impact, I've got 80% on my front foot, and then around and kind of turning and matching. They can see that center pressure is going towards my left heel, which is me turning and managing the face through my pivot.